Good morning, YouTube. So today I want to walk you through how I feed my tanks, particularly my Red Sea Reefer 350 G2 and also my 20-gallon water box tank. So this is a every morning routine that I actually do for this tank. As you can see, I do not have a speck of algae anywhere. Now the lights are just coming on, and again, like I said in the previous video, this tank is about 7 months old, and it is all SPS. It's SPS dominant. Yeah, pretty much SPS completely all the way through. And all of my frags, I started off with little 1-inch frags, so I'm going to be taking you through my journey. As you can see, I put it on the feeding mode, so I've turned off my return pump is still going, my protein skimmer is off, but I turned off my Nero 5s. So this is a Kraken lid that I actually had custom made. So it comes with a little removable thing here to where you can actually go in and feed the fish. But what I actually do is I feed them this. So this is called, and it looks nasty right now, but this is just Reef Nutrition, frozen food cubes, and I just dissolve it in some of the tank water and just shake it up, and then put it in there. So I use this little dropper here, which I ordered off of Amazon, which works pretty good. But I actually use this to actually feed it. So what I do, I feed pretty heavy, like I mentioned before. And as you can see, I just put it in here, let it get around. I do have a diamond goby in there, as you can see him right in the back. And I try to target feed him because he does more than just sift the sand. He actually needs to be fed also. So he actually eats this because this is for carnivorous fish and actually omnivores as well. So as you can see, he's actually going down there, and I put it down in his area so he can go around and eat it. It's pretty cool. That gives him a chance to feed as well with my Antheas and my Tang and my Clown also. So the amount of food that I feed is typically, I'll put 1 cube. 1 cube lasts me about, let me see, 1 cube lasts me about 2 days. So I guess a half a cube a day. And I do this feeding early in the morning as soon as the lights come on. So as you can see, the lights are just now starting to ramp up in the morning. And I do also have an auto feeder, which I'm gonna show you in a minute, which I feed twice, which cuts on twice a day, and it does 2 rotations, and it feeds pellets. So this is my Hydros auto feeder, and I have it set to come on at, I think it's 3-hour intervals. So it cuts on at 1 p.m. and it does 2 rotations at 1 p.m. and also 2 rotations at 4 p.m. So that keeps the aggression down and actually keeps the tank fed. My phosphates are high. I checked my phosphates yesterday. I actually tested my phosphates, and I think they were at 1.2 or something like that. I have no problems with that. I know people like, oh, your phosphates are too high and all this, and you got to get your phosphates lower. Not the case. Every tank is different. If you have hair algae and all kind of stuff like that going on in your tank, and things aren't right, and you're not staying up on your water changes and your husbandry and all that good stuff, yes, you probably do need to lower your phosphates. But if you're doing everything I just said, you're doing your water changes, which I do water changes each week religiously, like faithfully, and you're making sure that you're staying on top of your tank, paying attention, and you're not doing everything and putting all kind of stuff in there, then you'll be just fine. As I see it, what I can see with the coral, as you can see a lot of them, which they're little small frags, but that's a green slimer, but they're starting to like sprout out and spread because my phosphates are higher for one of the reasons particularly. This one is just starting to explode. I think within the next few months, I'm gonna have like a huge growth spurt with a lot of these coral, and because they're all settling in now. So I'm gonna have a huge growth spurt, and then they're just gonna start taking off. You see, that's a Aussie coral that's starting to branch out there, and this one already has just been branching out. It's one of the first SPS pieces that I put in here as a tester coral. Same thing with this anacropora. It's one of the first pieces I put in here also, and they were not this big at all. I just wanted to make sure that the system was stable. That's my Walt Disney right there, and that's even starting to come up a little bit, because he was just a little bitty nub. It wasn't even, I don't know, man, like a half an inch, a little dot when I ordered him, and now he's just starting to just grow branches and spread out. So I think within the next few months, my tank is gonna get a huge growth spurt and just start growing everywhere. That's my Monty down there. Another Monty. And this one here is just starting to branch out as well. I'm gonna do another video to where I got the names of all these corals. I don't know them by heart, but I save all my paperwork and I keep everything documented so I know what I have in my tank. But the majority of them, some of them I know, like this one is Oregon blue tort, which that color is awesome. It's starting to spread as well. But as you can see, I have my feed mode on and everything is just going. I may even just put a little bit more in there. Give them a little bit more to eat. I feed pretty heavy. I do have a pretty good filtration system on here, which I have the Reef Mat 500, and I'm running the algae scrubber, and I also have a protein skimmer. I'm trying something out right now. So today I turned off my protein skimmer because I know in previous tanks that I've had, when I don't run the protein skimmer, everything started to grow once it got settled in. But I typically wait till the tank gets settled in, and I think this one has gotten settled in already. So since everything is stable, it's settled in, I went ahead and cut the protein skimmer off, and I'll probably just run it for the weekend. I'm gonna try something out just to see. So it gives the coral a chance to just feed, and I do not do any target feeding in here at all whatsoever. I usually just dump my food in here and let everything get whatever. But the coral, specifically the SPS coral, is gonna thrive off of the fish waste anyway. That's another Monty that's doing pretty good. I think it's a Christmas tree Monty is the name of it, but it's starting to spread out. You see the white outer ring around it. This is another Monty, which is it's interesting. I have the name of it wrote down, and when I do a video and go by each coral that I have in here, this one is a pretty interesting piece. I actually like it. I like how it spreads. I think that's a Jason Fox flame. And hopefully I got that name right. But yeah, as you can see, the bonsai coral, see the polyps and everything extending out on there. They know it's time to feed. That's my tenuous right here. I'm gonna get a lot more tenuous coral. I love the way the polyps look on those things, and I love how they grow out when they actually start. It's gonna be interesting to see how that's gonna look when it actually starts taking shape. It starts to spread out. All right, so that's how I feed my Red Sea Reefer 350. And I'm just gonna kind of let that go. Now, for my Water Box 20, it's something different. So I do not put any frozen food in this one, mainly because, as you can see, there's no hair algae in there at all. I have battled with hair algae with this in the past. As I told you before, I had to tear this thing down 6 months in. This is over a year old now. But everything is fluffy. Everything is nice, and I actually fragged these two off of this one here. I just kind of like letting them go grow out there. They're actually doing good. Hammer. But yeah, for this one, the only thing I do with this, so these are the pellets that I feed it, and this is the size. And I actually feed this to my other tank also. These are the bulk resupply, and again, I'm not a sponsor for them at all. premium fish food, 1 millimeter pellet. And this right here lasts a pretty long time, but these are small. So it's just simple. So it's only 2 fish in this tank with a bunch of coral. And I do feed this tank. I feed the coral once a week. I do feed them phytoplankton with the reef mixture only once a week. But since there's only 2 fish in here, I only feed a little small amount. As you can see, I have a feeding ring, and I put a little small amount in there for those 2 fish right there. That's it. That's probably more than I put in here before. I typically don't even put that much in there, but I do have the Nasaria snails, those zombie snails down there. They'll get a hold of it and turn my sand over and get it. But yeah, I feed those 2 fish that twice a day, once in the morning, and then I think around 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and that's it. I do that every day. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of frozen food in there to give them a variation of diet sometimes, but it's only 2 fish with my secretive wrasse and then my clownfish in there. As you can see, they're going after it now. I'll give them a little bit of variation sometimes. But I don't want to have this tank get a whole lot of, because the only thing I'm running in here is filter floss, and that is it, and a UV sterilizer. That's all. And water changes. So I do 5-gallon water changes weekly in this thing. And with if you're doing a nano tank like this, word to the wise, do not listen to people who say, oh, I don't. Some people it works for, I don't know. They don't have to do water changes. But you're not keeping what's in this tank. You're keeping the water in this tank. So you have to keep everything stable. If you're not doing water changes in a small tank like this, anything can go wrong. I mean, you're pretty much playing Russian roulette, in my opinion. So I cannot afford to even miss a single week of water changes on this tank. I have to really, and it only takes a second. It's only 5 gallons of water. I siphon it out, and I have my water pre-mixed already with my bigger tank, and I get it back in there, and that's it. And as you can see, I have here, I have it measured to where I know exactly 5 gallons is. So when I actually get it out of the tank, and also this is the full level that I fill it back up to once I put the water back in there. So I have all these already pre-measured, and that's a good thing that I use. And it's off to the side. I also have that on this tank too, and I have it broke down 5 gallons worth of water here, and then 10 gallons here. And then when it's full, I fill it up here, and it's the top of the hash mark. But I do 10% of 90 gallons. I want to say is about nine gallons, but I do 10 gallons anyway. But I do that every week, once a week. And you can see how I have my aquascape set, and from a side view. So once the coral starts to grow out, it's actually gonna look pretty neat. I'm still gonna put some pieces down here. I haven't decided which ones I'm gonna put there yet. But I was trying to let everything settle in, which it is now, but I don't want to crowd it too much. But I'm gonna put some pieces down here, probably some deep water acros, and actually see how they actually take off. It's pretty good lighting. I run my lighting schedule from, I think the lights start coming on at 8 a.m. And I run them from 8 a.m. and they start ramping down at 7 p.m. At 60, I think I'm 65%, that's it. I'm not gonna change that. I'm gonna keep that the way it is. I'm not in a rush. It's not a race. I'm not trying to, I gotta grow my coral out, super fast. I'm just taking my time with it. And as you can see, my other tank over here, my cage, I did take, so those 2 pieces of rock are seeded rock that I actually had over in here. And I took those out, and this is the part of the cycle, because I want a large biological, different biological activity going on in this tank once it actually cycles. So there's no rush on this one either. This is gonna just sit like this probably about 4 or 5 months before I even put anything in there. I'm more than likely, I won't even put any fish in there. And it's just my personal preference. There's no need to, because I know what I want to do with this tank. This is going to be specifically grow out. But I'll probably start putting fish in here probably around 3 months. About 3 months or something like that. Give everything to give it a chance to get used to the bio load that the few fish I'm going to put in there are going to be putting off. and that's it. I think my pumps just cut back on. So now I'm sending everything back around through the tank. And again, this is what I do daily, feeding every day with both of my tanks, daily routine. It does not change. I work from home, so you get a chance to enjoy my tanks all day. But yeah, look forward to providing more content. Like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.